celebrities, artists, musicians, actors, and others who are joining not only the ranks of human rights causes, but also of the Palestinian struggle against Israeli apartheid in particular, and specifically joining the boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Israel movement. This year alone, celebrities such as Jesse Williams of Grey's Anatomy, Rosario Dawson, also of Hollywood, over 25 UK artists, the director of Portugal's National Theatre, Shakira, of course, the musician from Colombia, Natalie Portman, Brazil's most famous musician, Gilberto Gil, have all in the last few weeks and months either cancelled Israeli gigs, backed the BDS movement, lend their support to the Palestinian struggle, or have spoken out on Israel's occupation. And so we view this, this issue, this incident, within that larger context. And members of the media will also recall just 2 weeks ago, Argentina's football team had cancelled their match in Israel, following again a public outcry over that game. Locally in South Africa, one of the most well-known and controversial, as well as award-winning films to have come out was The Wound in Neba. And The Wound was produced or directed by John Trengrove. And John Trengrove took the very progressive, bold, and courageous decision last year to withdraw from one of Israel's flagship festivals, the Tel Aviv LGBTQ festival that took place in Tel Aviv last year. And so there is this momentum, and we view today's press conference within that larger momentum. Simpi Wedana, Tumi Molekane, various other artists, Kagiso Ladicha from Catching Feelings, have all been participating in such platforms in recent time. So we view today's press conference and engagements that we have had since yesterday as a turning point on this very particular and specific issue. We think that it's forward-looking. We think the idea of a trip is welcomed. We fully back that. It's opening up a new chapter in a sense. In particular, we as BDS South Africa fully accept the apology that was published yesterday by Shashi Naidu on social media, and we back her decision, as mentioned, to go on this fact-finding mission. Perhaps to end, some on this issue have taken, some on this issue who have traveled to Israel or who have broken the boycott or who have taken a very arrogant position, dismissing all and any public comment or commentary. And there's a bit of a difference that we experience in our engagements with Shashi Naidu, somebody who's willing actually to converse, somebody who's willing to engage, somebody who's willing to be wrong. And some of our biggest flag bearers of the BDS movement, for example, Roger Waters, he actually crossed a picket line in 2006. He defied a call to boycott Israel, but today he's one of our biggest promoters of the cultural boycott of Israel. Macy Gray as well, after her return from Israel, she said, if I knew now what I knew then, I would never go. I fully regret this decision. And again, she's supported various BDS campaigns since then. So we must never give up. We must never give up on each other. This is perhaps one of the lessons of being human. And we hope and are confident that only but good will be coming from this. As a BDS movement, as a Palestinian struggle, we again would like to reach out and commend the members of various organizations and communities, a broad spectrum of South African society that have been vocal on this issue. We do see it as a very clear indication that there is a shift within our own country on the issue of the support for the Palestinian struggle. And last, and I mean, there's one thing that we can all learn from this. I mean, from this issue is both. I mean, members of the media, I think us as BDS South Africa, is don't copy and paste, guys. I mean, yeah.
Thanks.
Prof, I stop with you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Al-Dulu will be next. No, yeah. Shashi. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Friends, I'm not accusing the media of it, but I'm very conscious of the phenomenon that if one person were to make a small black dot on that white board now, and you were to ask people, what do you see? They will tell you, I see a white dot. Nobody will tell you, I see a white board. They'll say, I'll see a black dot. So being conscious of that, I just want to clarify, and knowing the mind of the board and the director very well, I want to clarify something. Mohammed said that we'll be watching and waiting Shashi on this trip. Now, watching Shashi does not mean we're going to be monitoring her trip and we're going to be monitoring what she says when she comes back. Basically, we'll be taking a keen interest in her visit and in the consequences thereof. We have no intention of policing anybody. We enjoy, as BDS, the public support that we get from public figures. That's great. But it's not our job to monitor specific people and how they are doing in the growth of their ideas. We could have asked Shashi to go on a solidarity trip to Palestine. We did not, because Shashi evidently, and it's not a crime, to be unaware of many, many things in the world. Shashi evidently came from a position of not knowing, and she wants to get to a position of knowing. And you can't go on solidarity trips unless you know. And so that is why the trip is one of knowing and get to know. And it is not BDS's responsibility to monitor. That veers on the propaganda, on the mind control, and we're not into that business at all. Having said that, Shashi, it is over to you.
So, I think I was speaking to a friend of mine this morning that asked me why would I be doing the trip to Palestine, and I said that, look, I've made a very public apology, and a part of that apology was to educate myself and to re-educate myself. And me approaching BDS, and I want to make that very clear, is I'd approached BDS myself, but I also want to know that in no way does this mean that I'm radicalizing myself to one side or radicalizing myself to another, because I feel like almost this entire debate is also sparked. It's become a political debate, and you almost felt caught up in the middle. I feel for me this is a humanitarian issue. I've been very disappointed in myself for not knowing and being fully aware of what was happening in Gaza, and sometimes ignorance can be just as bad as having those thoughts. So it's been a tough couple of days, but I think a lot of people have asked me about, are you worried about losing work? Are you the endorsements? I think from my side, that is not a primary concern of mine at the moment. I think rightfully so, a lot of brands should distance themselves from all this conflict. But the one thing I think I've realized in all of this, I said to Mohammed, do you think anyone will come today? I was expecting to see 1 or 2 people here, but I do have a voice. So if that is the only thing I have left, I can use that now in a positive way, or I could sit back and say, look, I give up, I'm going to cry myself, and we all know I cried, but I can stay crying, I can say I'm going to kill myself, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the voice that I have to discuss the humanitarian issues, to share what I learn. And as I said to him, it's a journey, it's going to be a journey for me. And I hope that other people that might perhaps have been ignorant before can share in that journey with me, learn more, know more, understand more. I feel certainly in the last 48 hours, the last 3 days, my eyes have been opened to what is happening. And you can't unsee, when you've seen, you can't unsee that, you can't unread it. So I think my life has changed its course in a way, and probably started a completely new journey for me. But yeah, I think, sorry can't just be a word, it must be an action, and my apologies will come in my actions moving forward.
Thank you very much, Shashi. That's Dudu Masango from the South African Council of Churches.
Thank you, Professor Farid, and good morning to everyone. And we, as South African Council of Churches, we are here to give support. We know as Christians we are called to accept when one apologizes. And when one apologizes, you cannot turn them away. It is important to listen to the apology. And when we see the genuineness, whether we see or we don't see the genuineness in that, it is not for us as people to judge. So the South African Council of Churches, we are really supporting the move, especially of wanting to know, of Shashi wanting to know, and giving herself the move of saying, I have not known before, and now I am told that there is something that is wrong in me that I have said, and what can I do right? And
you've been watching a media briefing there. The BDS South Africa and media personality Sashi Naidu holding a joint press briefing in Johannesburg, basically setting the record straight. Naidu posted a series of what referred to as facts about Palestine, among which she accused Gaza of wanting to annihilate Israel. So they're basically setting the record straight, and I think she's going to be taking a trip to Palestine, Gaza soon in terms of that.